What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Going to talk about the top 4 hero beat deck that was played by Giorlando. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce his name. I guess I should just, start looking at some of the top decks, analyzing them, talk about why I think they were so successful. So to start off, it's more of a hero beat, less of a bubble man beat deck. And he's got Stratos, 3 copies of Neos, 2 Barbaros, 2 Thunder Kings, 1 Crusader, 3 copies of Duality, 3 Miracle Fusion, 3 Gemini Spark, 2 ECalls, 1 copy of Rota, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Book of Moon, 2 copies of Skill Drain, 2 Hero Blast, 2 Deep Prison, 2 Dark Bribe, 2 Torrential Tribute, the Solemn Brigade, Mirror Force, and Starlight Road. Okay, so first thing that jumped out at me was Beast King Barbaros. I really like the addition of Beast King Barbaros in this deck. It's because it's like, since a lot of these anti-meta hero beat decks are gonna be running copies of Skill Drain, why not throw in something like Beast King Barbaros? Why not be able to put a 3000 beater on the field, which almost every single deck in the format is going to have serious problems getting rid of. And then even at worst, if you don't summon it with Skill Drain on the field, it's still 1900 beats. It still works in the anti-meta engine. It still flows really well with anti-meta. But if you do have Skill Drain, you're locking your opponent's effects down, and you've got almost unkillable monster via battle anyway. I like the fact that he added Crusader. He added another target for Gemini Spark. It's also a 1900 beater, so if he doesn't for some reason get to Neos very quickly, he has another option. The 3 Miracle Fusion and the 3 Gemini Spark pretty much goes with the entire hero engine of Stratos and Neos, and I think that this engine basically is at the level where it basically can rival the Destiny engine and how that deck used to be played in everything from Teledad and this Destiny Hero Beatdown, aka T-Hero, and Perfect Circle Monarchs. I think you're starting to see the E engine is basically on that same level now. It's more anti-meta than meta. I definitely love the fact that he ran Skill Drain. To me, it just makes the deck so much better. I mean, he's basically going to destroy windups and destroy Insectors. I mean, you're looking at 2 of the big 3, and you're just basically saying, all right, you're going to be destroyed by this one card. It may hurt Dino Rabbit a little bit. I mean, if you get it before they get their monsters on the field, their Lagias and Dokas, I mean, essentially they just become vanillas that you can easily handle. Hero Blast is an amazing card right now. I like the fact that it's chainable. Again, it breaks up rabbit plays. I've said that earlier. And it's a really, really good card. I mean, anything above 1900 in this format is pretty, like, it's not very easy to do. I mean, even when windups start looping, I mean, they loop with 1500 monsters. 2 copies of Dark Bribe. He probably used this more to do like offensive plays than defensive plays. Otherwise, you would think that he would run a Starlight Road instead of Dark Bribe. But when he has a Barbaros that's 3000k, or he has a 3200 Neos on the field, chances are he can push for game with 1 or 2 monsters, and probably he used Dark Bribes to back those up. I like 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. Again, I usually don't like it in control-based decks, but you have to look at it like this. I mean, even if he loses his monsters, he has stuff like Hero Blast to get them back. He has Miracle Fusion to get Shining, and when you kill Shining, he's just going to go plus again because he's getting those monsters back, and his Stratos is going to search another card. I think you're starting to see that anti-meta decks, with the inclusion of like Heavy Storm in his deck, you're starting to see that anti-meta decks are starting to be more offensive and less defensive, where the whole game plan is not, set 5 back row and, hope that my opponent doesn't have Storm. I think you're starting to see much more aggressive plays. That's why he's maining the 3 special summon copies of Miracle Fusion, why he's playing heavy Storm. Even though he does play Dark Bribe and Starlight as good defensive cards, I mean, both of those can be really good offensive cards too. I think that this deck is structured really well. I also noticed he didn't run hand traps in his deck. For the most part, it looks like when you really have Skill Drain, you really don't have to run the hand traps. As I've said earlier in some of my other videos, it's not if you don't have a hand trap, you just automatically lose the windups. They don't open with the loop nearly as much as people think, and I mean, this is definitely one of the good decks to combat it. I like the fact that he ran Forbidden Chalice. I told you guys about this in my regional report. it's just a really solid card. Again, it works as a watered down version of Phoenix Chain or Skill Drain at times. You can attack and you can OTK people, or not OTK, but you can win games. Like if you chalice your Barbaros, it goes to 3,400, and it was 19, and it's damage step, so it's pretty much too late for them to do anything. The only problem with this deck, I think it has very good rabbit, wind up, and insector matches. I think that this deck would struggle terribly against Dark World, and that's something that people on Duelist Grounds are already talking about, is how do they beat Dark Worlds, because things like macro would obviously mess with your deck, mess with the Miracle Fusions and stuff like that. So, you know, it may be time for this deck to start side decking Gemini Imps or more copies of Shadow Mirror. But overall, I think that this deck has a very, very bright future. In fact, I think this is probably the deck that I like most out of the top 8. Like, I think it's just structured really, really well. So let me know what you guys think. And if you really, really could, just click an ad, because I'm trying to get a new laptop. Because this one I have, this shitty computer, it wouldn't even support HD. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.